मैं हल्का सा स्टार्ट करके तो फिर आपको हैंड ओवर कर दूंगा कि मैं उतनी देर लिंक सबको शेयर कर दूं जो भी दोस्त दोस्त हैं मेरे. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful live stream, and we are here at Sophis Productions with none other than Anila Shehzad, who is a geopolitical analyst and a writer. And today we're here to discuss a diverse field of topics. Volume one. Volume ऊपर आपने बंद करना है. So so what are we going to do today? We're going to do a lot of great things. Could you volume band kar do?
Okay.
So sorry for that little disruption. So today we're going to do a diverse range of topics, and the most interesting things that are happening in volume ऊपर आपने बंद रखना है. बंद रखें वॉल्यूम. Sorry for that. So we're just setting about our things, and today we're going to do a diverse range of topics, but the most interesting topic of them all is what is happening in the Middle East. What happens is Trump is now visiting Middle East and making these $1 trillion deals with the prince and the kings of the Middle East, the king of Saudi Arabia and the king of UAE. He also went to Qatar. And Trump is now competing with China to get more influence in the Middle East. What does that mean? That means Trump is going to provide weapons. That's like the biggest weapon deal ever done in the whole wide world, which is around more than $150 billion, and Trump is providing the AI NVIDIA chips to make this AI utopia in UAE, which is going to get operational in 2029 and is going to be one of the biggest AI research and development centers in the world. How amazing is that? And without further ado, let me just welcome Anila Shehzad. And before I welcome Anila Shehzad, I just want to say that you guys are more than welcome to comment in our live stream. And obviously, we're going to be reading out your comments out loud. And whatever input you guys have, whatever you want us to think and say, we'll do that. And with that, let's continue with Anila Shehzad.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure. And yes, this tour of Trump into the Middle East was really very interesting, and it was, kind of a game changer for the US, because Trump, from the day he came on his power seat in the USA, he was hell-bent to somehow change the fate of the US, because the US economy is on a downfall actually, and the debt, the national debt on the US people and the US government is in trillions, like 36 or 37 trillion dollars debt they have, and there's no way they can pay that debt back. And the bigger problems that were rising because of this debt was that the US government was not going to have enough money to service that debt, and not enough money to give the pensions to their elderlies in the coming years, and no money to spend on the welfare of the people. So how to get out of that whole, big hole of, black hole, economic black hole from where there was no way out? And this was something really big for the Trump administration and Trump himself, who wanted to make America great again, which was really many analysts inside the US, inside Europe, they are saying that the US economy is on a dive, and it's on a really decline, and there's no way to put the Humpty Dumpty together again for the US. But this was maybe the breakthrough that Trump was waiting for, looking for, because he did not succeed in the Ukraine Russia peace deal that he promised. He is not yet successful in stopping the Gaza-Israel war that he promised. But now coming back to Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar, and getting these big $1 trillion deals, this is maybe a big breakthrough for the US. But many critics inside the US are also saying that these deals are actually going to snatch away the future of the US people, because if you're going to give all your latest and high grade chips, the NVIDIA chips, all to the data centers that are going to be set up in the Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Qatar, and you're going to give all those NVIDIA chips, and then you're going to give AI all this technology, AI technology, and all those centers are going to be set up now in Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states. So what is going to happen? The edge that the US had, the US is having an edge on 2 or 3 industries, which are, one of them is the Silicon Valley, the AI, and they make the AI. They are developing the AI, the fastest and the most modern AI they are developing there, and then they are designing and making the software of all the latest nano chips. That is happening in the US, and then they're making this. They have this huge military industrial complex, which makes all the high edge weapons, precision weapons, and the fastest aircrafts and all those things. And if the Saudis and the Qataris and the UAE, they lure Trump into selling all these 3 industries, the produce of all these big industries, upon which the US has this edge, and with the help of this edge, it is in a position to rule the world. These Gulf states are going to, if they're going to buy all that technology, and if they're going to ask them to make all the centers of these technologies in their states, then what is going to happen 5 years from now or 10 years from now, that these few industries that the US had an edge on are also not going to be US specialities anymore. So what will happen then? The US is going to be left with nothing. I mean, if they're making the F-16s, if they're making the Boeings, if they're making the AI, this Google and these Amazon and whoever, these big companies that make, if they're going to set up all their centers in these Gulf states, and then they're going to do even their research over here, and then all this research and new technology is going to fall in the hands of the Gulf state people, then the US has no edge left with it, because when technology is transferred, it can easily be transferred again. There is a fear that China is going to then easily take that technology, and that technology can be leaked to China, because China is a friend of these Gulf states. And you remember that China was the one who made the rapprochement between the Saudis and the Iranians happen just something like 2 years ago or maybe less. And the Saudis and the Qataris and these are all Gulf states, they are deeply interested in having all the Belt and Road projects in their states, because this big projects that the Saudis are starting, all of them involve Chinese help, Chinese technology, and they are most probably part of the BRI projects. And so, the Gulfs are actually right now one place which is totally friendly with the Chinese and also totally friendly with the US. And if all the US technology comes over here, it can be drained out towards China easily,
That was a great introduction to what we want to say. And I just want to go over the first comment that we have. So Nottingham Auto Recovery says hello. Hello, please, and welcome to our live stream. And hope you are finding this well. And that's really interesting, Anila, what you just told about what's happening in the Middle East. And I'm really happy that the Palestine thing is also being on the front of the news. Recently, Trump said in one of his speeches that he's going to resume aid that the Palestinian people need the most, because what we're hearing that the war started like around 2 years ago, and since the war has started, the aid is not entering into Gaza, and children and people are really malnutritioned, and there's a sort of humanitarian crisis going on. And what Israeli authorities were saying, that they are starving the Palestinian people on purpose. Now, that doesn't make sense at all. So, starting our discussion, I just wanted to get this point across that we are very deeply saddened by the actions of Israel, and we pray for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. There's like 22 countries just after the Trump visit. So there's now 22 countries that are forcing Israel to stop this nonsense. And now we hear Netanyahu and also like interview or a speech that he said that he's very near to a ceasefire with the Palestinian people. So that's also great news. But I would like to start with a video as well. And the title, if you just came to our website, came to our live stream, the title shows Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, hiding cocaine from these camera people. So let's just quickly go over the video, and then I'll give you my first-hand reaction to what happened. So are we seeing the video, Fazan? Okay. So you can see Emmanuel Macron like clearly hiding the bag in his hand. And he's smiling.
And who's the person next to him who was the one who pulled the other thing?
And then there's also like this spoon, and the other guy is some politician from the United Kingdom. And they're both doing this thing, and he comes up and he hides the baggie, and the other one hides like this little spoon. And I mean, these guys...
Stammer was also with them, by the way, UK PM.
Yeah, that might be Stammer.
No, Mike Stammer is the one sitting.
So
On the
legend
other
says that these guys were going on a train to Kiev to meet Zelensky. And Zelensky is like a paranoid cocaine addict that we all know about. And he's sitting in his bunker doing cocaine all day. And it's like an open secret. It's not like in the closet or something. It's like open that this guy is doing a lot of cocaine every day. And he's sitting like in a bunker. And what is going on with Emmanuel Macron? Why is he on this nightmare train towards Kiev? And why are they all doing drugs? So the conspiracy goes that the baby boomer generation, maybe that's the generation that came after the World War II. And these guys had a lot of babies. So after World War II, there was like a great population increase and people were happy. People had a lot of resources and a lot of money because the conflicts were over. And they like to enjoy and party, especially the Europeans and the Americans. So these baby boomers really used to party hard back in these days, but I don't think that Emmanuel Macron, I think your party days are far behind you. And you're like the president of a country going on a train
to solve the Ukraine-Russia war situation.
The war situation, and you're doing cocaine.
What would the people of the France people and the people of the Britain, what would they be thinking that these are our leaders and they are going to go and solve the issues?
It's been a big scandal, and there are body language experts that are trying to review, but because obviously it's just like a piece of tissue paper, and you don't know what's really in it. And if Macron would just have left the tissue paper on the table, no one would have suspected anything. But as soon as the people come in, he picks it up, puts it in his pocket.
Hides
it. So it's like from his face, you can tell like it was like a deer being hit by a car. I don't know what's the right saying, but the other guy, as soon as Macron grabs the tissue, the other guy grabs the little spoon in which they do the cocaine. So I mean, this is like beyond imagination. Sometimes I feel like we're living in a simulation, or I'm just having a bad dream when I wake up.
Like if that is the kind of people that the elite, they call, and these are the type of people governing the humanity, the portions of humanity. I mean, maybe there are people like this in our governments also, God forbid. But that's what's happening to humanity. That's why we don't have peace. That's why we have wars. That's why we have so much corruption, because our, top echelons of the power, they're all so corrupted and so like deranged, I would say, not in their right minds.
So Mustafa Harun is saying, hey, enjoying some snow together. They enjoying some snow together. Allow it, fam. And then Mustafa Harun is saying, spoon is used for methamphetamines.
Oh my God. Children know much more than we do.
And then Mustafa Harun says, then they use syringe. So yeah, we could expect that from Emmanuel Macron and all these politicians. And the way that Zelensky has really handled the situation. I mean, they're brave men in Ukraine who have fought a lot of the battle, but they wouldn't have survived like a week without Donald Trump's support. And the other thing is that Zelensky is the sort of person who has destroyed his own nation. Ukraine is beyond recovery. There's so much people that have died that even if the war stops now, there's no men left in Ukraine. Most of the men have died, and the population implosion was already an issue in Ukraine because people were having 2 less children. And now, with the war, there's no chance that Ukraine could recover. And then, when this guy, Zelensky, came to power, it was on it was on when he came to power, it was on the premise that he wanted to stop the war and he wanted to make a deal with the Russian president.
No, actually, you can't put all the blame on Zelensky for destroying Ukraine, because Victoria, Newland, and all those newcons, they were behind picking him up. They said that this is our man and we're going to bring him to power, and they ousted literally via the Euromaidan and all those big Orange Revolution against those leaders who were pro-Russia and who were like there for ages, and they made them like run away from the country, and they picked him up. He was a comedian. He had no experience in politics. He didn't know all that, and they just picked him up so that he could do the next comedy show for them. And he had zero concern for the people. He had zero concern for the country. He had no idea that Ukraine's future is no way with NATO or with the European Union. Just imagine that the biggest member of the European Union had just opted to get out, like the British. The UK was going out of Brexit. So what was and there was so much at that time things coming that who is going to be the next to exit the European Union, and they just made that a pretext, and that they just gave him this narrative that yes, I'm going to be part of the European Union. Now, if this war is going to end, Russia is going to make sure that Russia is given in writing that Ukraine is not going to go towards the European Union, neither towards the NATO. So that's going to happen. And Zelensky was a nobody, he was just their puppet. And he still is, I think, even though he has learned a lot. And he's trying to stand against Trump. He's trying to stand for his, country now. But, it doesn't work like that.
What he should have done is never try to get into the European Union. And then what he should have done is have a deal with the Russians. Because when the Russians started the war, they didn't want like a prolonged war, and they just wanted to do this war, and they thought that cooler senses, and if there was a option between death and life, people would choose life, and they wouldn't choose like this great war that would never end, like go 2-3 years and responsible for killing of thousands and thousands of soldiers and civilians. So point being that Zelensky could have, if he wanted, Russia was willing to give him a very good deal when the war started. But Zelensky, backed by his European and United States allies and the great evil powers, he started this war with all the military weapons and equipment the world could give him, and it's like he's pure evil. Sometimes we don't think that all of this was done on the basis of just defending and patriotism and everything, but there was some hidden agenda. Like Zelensky really thought he could destroy the whole of Russia. That's what he was thinking. And now we should go on to our second video, which is Donald Trump. Donald Trump has just visited Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and Donald Trump is wondering what it would feel like if he was a prince or a king of a rich Middle Eastern country. And when he entered and saw the palace we all, I guess, saw the palace for the first time, and these palaces are so huge, and everywhere you see there is gold curtains and gold. I don't know, everything is made of gold, and these palaces are as huge. I don't know, these rooms could fit thousands and thousands of people, and they're so beautiful and amazing. And even Trump, the billionaire, who never, I don't think he never met like a poor guy in his whole life. But this guy himself was thinking, wow, America is good, but not as good as these Qatari and the Saudi prince and people. So let's just play a little video. Which one do I want to show you? So yeah, here we are seeing Donald Trump entering the palace, and you can just look at the palace and see the amazing scale of the palace. There is roads inside the palace, actually. Oh my God. So yeah. And yeah, look at the palace. I mean, the size and the scale and the amount of wealth these Middle Eastern kings have, because they have been pumping out billions of dollars of oil each day for the last 70 to 80 years. And you can't really put a number to their wealth. So this is Trump entering, and then we also see this weird dance that these girls do. I quickly want to show you that as well. The title says, "Watch UAE's unique hair flipping dance." Dear welcoming Trump. So let's just see the hair flipping once. And we're from a Muslim nation, and we know Islam, and we have never seen this hair flipping. Maybe it's a Qatari tradition, but still like a very stupid tradition. I don't want to say that to you, Qataris. But let's just quickly see the hair
Qatar
flipping.
or UAE?
UAE, sorry.
Like if it was their cultural something, they should have gotten rid of it by now. I mean, the 21st century.
It wasn't looking even decent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was looking really, really weird.
So yeah, right now on the screen you could see all the hair flipping that is happening. And one or two of the girls who are standing right beside Donald Trump, they also think it's very stupid, and they're flipping the hair, but they're half-hearted, and they know that it's not going to look good in front of the whole world. So yeah, hair flipping.
So it's easy to imagine then how these Gulf states are being able to do trillions of dollars of deals with Trump. And what we are really thinking in the back of our minds is, are they forcing Trump to get Israel towards a ceasefire before any of these deals happen? I mean, people were saying that Trump got this gift of millions of dollars of, aircraft. And people were saying that these same Qataris cannot bring a morsel of food for the people of Gaza, not a dollar's worth, and they can give this millions of dollars worth of aircraft as a gift for Trump. So are they doing something for Gaza? That is the big question. Because we do see, like you just said, that just after this visit, so many European countries are telling Israel that they're going to put sanctions on Israel if they don't come immediately onto a ceasefire. And then Netanyahu himself has said this thing yesterday. I think that Israel is very close to a ceasefire. So let's see. Hopefully, if they have so many trillions to give to the United States, they can ask Trump to have this thing resolved first, and maybe they said something about the two-state solution also.
Yeah, the talk of the town is that the president of Saudi Arabia and the president of UAE wanted to work with the USA and wanted to make a deal, but they wanted Israel out. And they wanted, before they could, they didn't really want Israel out. In order to accept Israel, they want to isolate Israel and isolate and they want to just ruin Netanyahu's whole existence and his whole thinking and his whole life. So what they say is, Donald Trump, we're ready to make a deal, but in order to make that deal, you must really accept Palestine as an independent nation, which is the two-state theory.
Yes. You're talking about normalization deal.
Yeah. So Netanyahu wants to make the greater Israel. He doesn't want any country in the Middle East to prosper. Actually, there are like only 6 million Jews, and there are like 2 billion Muslims living in the world. That means that if all these Arabs unite, they would really drag the Jews from the land to the sea, from the land to the sea. And to be clear, this term from the land to the sea was not coined by the Palestinians. This term was really coined by the Jews that were living in that area. So
river to the sea, actually.
Yeah, from the river
from
to
Jordan River to the sea, they wanted the whole area for themselves.
Or they wanted to throw them in the rivers and they would just go into the sea. So
normalization is like the big thing for, the normalization was due, and Israel was expecting that thing to happen any day when this Gaza-Israel war broke out. And just a few months before that, the Saudi-Iranian friendship rapprochement happened, and all that, this whole thing reversed for Israel, and now they are like miles and miles away from it.
So Nottingham Auto Recovery says, Qatar's rising power and Trump's return. How will this shake up the global ties? And yeah, that's what our topic is for today. And let me open an article for you guys. So we'll read the article's headline, and that would reinforce what our point is, and that would also answer your question, Nottingham Auto. So 22 countries demand, and we're not going to do that right now. If we did that, we could really go over that. There's a lot of articles, I don't know.
The third last one, the one.
Yeah. Just a second, guys. We had the articles open, but we have to just refresh the page.
So like while you find that article, I would like add this thing, that the deals that went between Trump and these Gulf states were first of all of the very high-end fighter jets, aircrafts, like the F-35 and all those, which are like the prize weapons, the U.S. has, and the U.S. only wanted to give them to Israel, or very few like best friends. Maybe they promised that India would get some of them, and now they have to like give those. What happens when the Saudis have the F-35s? What happens when the Qataris have the F-35s? Who are they going to fight? They don't have any enemies around the world except maybe their best friend is their best enemy, the Israeli governments, and all the Gulf states and all the Arab states, and even all the Arab states. And we should also talk about Egypt, because Egypt has not only made a very, very strong military, it has also been threatening Israel with its preparation of war, because they have been doing military drills, and they have been doing these drills right inside the Sinai desert, very close to Israel. And Israel, something else happened last month, that Chinese military was present inside Egypt, and they brought some of their weapons, or maybe their aircrafts, and there was so much news. That was all in the news. And Israel, Netanyahu explicitly said, the Israeli government explicitly said that Egypt is preparing for war against us, and Egypt should be warned. So that is the the people, the Arab people, their hearts are with Palestine. So you can't stay for long in power if you are constantly acting against the will and the likings of the people. So Egypt had to do this, although Sisi is a friend of the United States, and they helped him come to power. But Sisi, just after this Gaza war, and because Netanyahu and his people, they've constantly been saying that we want to move these 2.2 million Gaza population into the Sinai desert, into Egypt. And that's after that, Sisi and his government and the foreign ministers have constantly been having to say that no, we will not allow that to happen. That we will not even allow a single person from Gaza to enter into the Sinai desert. So the sentiments, the emotions are really high, and the governments have to act according to that. So how can, this is the question in my mind, that how can the governments in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE and all these Gulf states, how can they just do nothing about Palestine, though they have been giving a lip service? They have been continuously, and their foreign ministers have continuously been siding with the people of Gaza, with even Hamas, with the Hezbollah. They have, taken Hezbollah, strike their name out of the designated terrorist list of the OIC, and all these things they have done. But practically, have they done anything for the Gaza people? Practically, have they made sure that food comes to them? Practically, have they done something to stop the Israeli forces entering Gaza? That thing we have not seen yet. And we're still thinking that maybe, yes, because of all their wealth, because of all their, political clout that they have on the US and other European countries, maybe they are forcing under the table. They are making some moves like that, hopefully.
You got a very valid point, and they might be doing some deals. And one of the articles I have from The Observer is Trump trading away America's tech future? So when we're talking about Trump making deals in the Middle East, now these deals are worth trillions and trillions of dollars, not just like a $1 trillion deal. It was just one of the deal that Trump signed when he was in Qatar was around $1.4 trillion. If I put that into perspective, that is like 1,400 billion. That's like an astronomical amount. But Trump was, I guess, very happy because the Qataris were willing to invest and they signed this huge deal. Next day, he goes to Saudi Arabia and he signs another $1 trillion deal. And then after a few days, he goes to Qatar and he signs another trillion. So it's not just a single trillion, it's multiple $1 trillion deals that Trump is signing. And it doesn't go just one way. The Middle East is ready to trade, ready to cooperate, and ready to invest in the United States. But what do they want in return? They want weapons, they want technology, and the American people are building this super amazing and the biggest AI research and development center in the whole world, which is going to be built by 2029. And this will have some amazing, I guess, 100,000 NVIDIA chips. These chips are, obviously, we all know about the NVIDIA chips, but these big HS, I don't exactly remember the names of these chips, but they're like super good at computing AI. And when you have like 100,000 of them in like it's like a super cluster, which is, these super clusters are being developed for super intelligent artificial intelligence. Because if you really think about intelligence, what are we? We are not just matter, we're something else as well. Our brain is like a very complex neural network with trillions of neurons communicating with each other. And when you have to mimic the brain in like an artificial world, you really have to build these amazingly big and costly data centers, which are going to be the brain of this super intelligence that is going to come in the future. And where does Trump give all these chips, and where is Trump making all these deals? Is in UAE, which proves the point that is America going to be the leader of artificial intelligence in the future? Or is the Middle East going to be the next big place? Because we know that no one is going to stop AI, and AI is the future. So we're all left with this question. What is Trump really doing? Is he trading away America's future?
Yeah. Is he making America great again, or is he dumping America again? So this is a big question, because Trump was actually trapped because he wants business for the US and there is no other business. This is the business that he can do. And the other thing is that these Gulf states, that they have told Trump that if you don't want to do this type of business with us, we can do it with China, no problem. We can take their J-35s, we can take China is also very close to developing their own these chips, because the moment the semiconductor war started in Biden's era, I think, or maybe Trump's first era, the first trade war, the semiconductor war, from that moment, China had started building their own chip development, things, industries and all that inside China, and they are making chips, but those chips are not the very high edge, nano chips. They are coming close to that also, because China has so much extra money, and they have already a few years back they have said that they're going to make their own R&D. They are going to put money into their own research and development, and they're going to not only do it in this artificial intelligence area, but also in other new sciences, new technologies that are still being developed. So this was a trap for something like a trap for Trump, that do it, take it or leave it, because Trump had no other what do you call it, business venture.
He had
To
no
go
other
to-
option
Yeah.
to really, when you think about it, he had no real option other than
And we should talk about the
handing all over these chips. But when you talk about America having all this technology, yeah, because of America, NVIDIA is there, and they're really the forefront of all this AI technology. But still the point remains that they are just developing the softwares.
Yeah.
The real technology to make all these microprocessors and all these great chips that are going to power the future of AI, all of these chips are made by TSMC, which we don't have to, I'll just remind you guys, is made in Taiwan, which China considers as its own country and territory, and you never know if NVIDIA misbehaves with China, which they already are. They're not providing them with the chips. China might just take over Taiwan once and for all. That's why also we hear that TSMC is making the same sort of a plant in the United States. But with these plants, USA had Intel, and Intel was this big chip maker, but Intel has now fallen off its grace because these chip fabrication facilities are really, really expensive. It's like rearranging atoms. Like they create a microprocessor from silicon, which is actually sand. So it's like making gold from sand, and you're like rearranging things on atomic scales. So it's like a really difficult thing. And the point is that technology is constantly progressing. So if you make this big factory, which is going to produce a lot of chips, and this factory gets delayed, or there's something wrong with it, or something happens, and you're not on time. So within the next 3-4 years, these factories are useless. Some say they have a lifetime of like 5 years, and then they have to upgrade everything. So even if you invest those billions of dollars, there's no guarantee that you can make these super technical chips of the future. So
I was reading somewhere that there are 3,000 to 4,000 different steps in making those chips in this TSMC.
Actually, when you're looking at a chip, it has billions of transistors, and then those billions of transistors have billions of connections. So it's like a very tiny thing, but if you look from a microscope, it has so much intricacies in it. How do you connect a billion things to each other? And how do they communicate? And with the rise of artificial intelligence, the what do you call it? The infrastructure or the architecture and the design of these connections between each other have to change. So they're like people in this world who have like 100 or 200 people who are like sitting together. They have like this great team of intellectual people, and they're actually designing like 1 billion connections. How amazing is that? It's just an astronomical number, and to consider making so many connections and making this infrastructure and architecture that is so technical. It's like a mega factory within like a thumb size thing, and it's just unbelievable how these guys are able to achieve these sort of things. So let's go to our next article, which is Trump's trip to can we see the article? Yeah. So Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia raises the prospect of U.S. nuclear cooperation with the kingdom. So
that's interesting.
that is really interesting.
Very interesting.
I would like to have the opinion of Anila Shahzad, but I just wanted to give this comment first. that Saudi Arabia is saying that we could obviously, in this day and age, in 2025, a billionaire with like $1 billion to like throw away, 3 to 4 billion, I guess, he could easily get a nuclear warhead delivered to his home. That's the conspiracy. And these Saudi people, they have like trillions and trillions of dollars. So what's stopping them from getting a nuclear weapon? They could obviously talk to China and make all this nuclear stuff happen. But they said, I guess they said this to Trump as well. They told him that you better give us the nuclear weapons or we have the Chinese. So yeah, Anila, could you go in a little bit?
That's very interesting because Saudis have been saying this for a couple of years now to Trump that they want nuclear energy and maybe also these nuclear weapons because they want their safety also. But, Iran has, because there's a thing of this nuclear deal going on between Trump, the US and Iran, and it's not going very well because on this side, Trump is constantly saying that he's going to allow zero enrichment to Iran, and Iran is saying that there's no way that we will stop our enrichment. We will not go an inch backwards. We will keep on doing that, and we will progress in this venue. And what Iran did just a few days ago, it floated this idea that we can give a nuclear umbrella to our Gulf friends, to Saudi Arabia, to like Qatar and to UAE. Why not? Like, just the time when Trump was going to come over here, and we knew that the Saudis and all these people are going to ask Trump for this nuclear energy or maybe nuclear weapon also. The same time, Iran floated this thing that we are ready to give this nuclear energy umbrella to our Gulf friends. So what is that? I mean, that's another trap, I think, that Trump is left with not a choice that if they're going to buy for billions of dollars from Iran, why not then I sell our US technology to them? So that's another type of a trap that I think Trump needed to fall into. And let's see what's happened because it's not final yet, I think. Because I think the Middle East is going to get at least nuclear energy in the coming years, if not nuclear weapons. What do you think?
If not, Iran is willing to help them as well. Just saying. So let's quickly go on the comments before we go on to the next article. So Nottingham Water Recovery is saying, Qatar's rising power and Trump's return. I read that one earlier. What impact do you think these multi-trillion-dollar deals will have on the world economy and everyday people? That's like an interesting question. As soon as Trump left the Middle East, the US economy, actually there's two things that happened. The first thing is that Moody's downgraded the US credit rating from AAA plus to AAA, something like that. So they downgraded the US treasuries. And that was like a news that broke the stock market. There was like a big astronomical fall in the stock market. And then the other news that he signed all these deals with Qatar, it immediately, when Trump returned to the United States, it boosted up the economy. And it's boosting up all the stocks and all the assets all over the world. So when these trillions of dollars are moving from account or a vault, a vault filled with trillions of dollars of gold in Qatar, when the money moves out from these vaults and goes to the economy, even to USA. Sorry for the little disruption we have in our time. I'll just continue in just a second. So yeah, so immediately we see that all the world economy is shifting, and stocks are going up and stock markets are going up. So yeah,
You should also mention that most of these deals are 10-year long deals. So it's going to happen in phases,
not instantly. Sorry for the disruption, guys.
1 घंटा 1 बज के
So yeah, we'll go to the next comment. And Nottingham Auto Recovery says the Rubin device is frictional technology from upcoming. What is happening? Bulalo na lalaji kamde. Lalaji connect motion. So what is really happening in this world? So I wanna. So I wanna go on to the next article. So the next article is from the Guardian that we have, and the next article says Iran proposes partnership with UAE and Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium. Now, the last article, Saudi Arabia was trying to make a deal with USA. Now, if USA doesn't make a deal, now Iran is saying that we have all the technology and we already have enriched uranium. Why even bother having this nuclear technology from the US when they could just, Iran could just provide Qatar and Saudi Arabia with the right amount of uranium and the technology and the enrichment. So Saudi Arabia would have like a working nuclear bomb or a working nuclear facility. So we'll pass on the mic to Anila and let her have her 2 minutes of whatever she wants to say. So yeah.
Yeah, I just mentioned this before also, that the US seems to be in this, trap where it has the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. They have actually put him in a position where if he doesn't do all these deals with them, they are just going to go directly to China or even to Iran, which is their, best enemy. And that is the most, difficult pill for Saudis to, for Trump administration to swallow, even the European friends, even the most difficult pill for Netanyahu to swallow, that the Saudis and these Gulf states are going to do trade deals and nuclear deals with Iran now. And if that happens, the survival of Israel in the heart of the Middle East, in the heart of the Arab, region, the key to that survival was the divide between the Muslim countries, the divide between the Arabs, because they had forged this thing that the Saudis were having enmity with the Qataris. There was things between the UAE and the Qataris. There were so many things that they did not like about each other, and especially Iran was their sworn type of enemy for the Saudis especially. And the Shia arc that started from Iran went all the way through Iraq and then came into Syria and then encircled the Gulf states by coming into the Yemen region also. All that was like something that was that had sustained very big enmity between the Sunni Arab states and the Shia arc of resistance, you could say, or the Shia arc that went all the way from Iran to Syria. And by the ousting of Bashar al-Assad, which was something that I was really hurt by, because that's not any way to go into any sovereign country and then just force their leader or their government, their prime minister or president to just leave the country, run away from the country. That was not the right way to do it. But now I feel that by Bashar al-Assad's going out of Syria, there is a prospect of more peace between at least the Arabs. Now Saudi Arabia is happy that there is going to be a Sunni leadership in Syria, which is not going to be aligned with Iran, but rather it would be aligned with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states and with Turkey. And now both Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they are both happy that they are going to have progress work, development work, reconstruction of Syria. And there's another news that Ashara, the new de facto leader of Syria, came to Riyadh and met Trump also. And Trump said this thing to him in front of the world, that the US is going to eliminate all the sanctions that they had put on Syria. So that's a good news. That's really a good news for the people of Syria, because we don't think that the US or the European countries who started all those wars, they are going to put in any money for reconstruction. But at least the air is clean now, the pathway is clear now, and now the Gulf states and Turkey, they can put in their reconstruction money into Syria.
And I was going to pull up the article first and then talk about it, but since Anila has talked about it, I'll just quickly share the article as well. So the article says, Trump's lifting of Syria sanctions is a win for Turkey, pointing to outsized role middle powers can play in regional affairs. So
who has the news agency? What's the news agency?
TheConversation.com.
They're calling the Middle East Gulf states as the middle powers. So who's the big power? The US? I don't think so. Not anymore.
And they have the picture of the president of Turkey with Al-Shara. And if we could see the picture, they're standing with court. And this guy was like the leader of ISIS. And now he totally forgets where he's from. Maybe he went to Abu Ghraib as well. And that's a big conspiracy. No one that goes to Abu Ghraib remains the same. Either when they leave, they're not even allowed to leave and allowed to meet any person. But if they leave from there, they're trained and they're like a CIA asset. And I mean that they have kept these terrorists and they have converted them to do what America wants to do. That they are like the dirty people that America keeps in their pocket, just to when the time is right, they'll place them in a place and they'll win a conflict. Like this guy came direct from Taliban to from Taliban, the ISIS, yes.
ISIS and Al-Qaeda he was.
And he's meeting Trump, wearing a suit, meeting Trump.
And actually, just like I said, that these Saudi peoples and the Gulf peoples, the Arabs, were actually not happy with Bashar al-Assad and his father before him. And this was a thorn in their hearts, that why this Alawite Shia family is ruling Syria when Syria is a Sunni majority population country. And now that Bashar al-Assad has been ousted, this Ahmed Ashara is not just a CIA asset. He is also a man that represents the wishes of the Saudis and the wishes of Turkey, because they allowed this thing to happen. They, even Iran was happy with him, because there was no way on earth that you could force the Iranian proxies of Hezbollah and there were so many militant organizations and working inside Iraq and present inside Syria, who had all their guns ready. And there was no way that Ashara could have just come out of Idlib and conquering one city after another, and not a single bullet was fired against him or his people. So that means this whole region, including Turkey and Saudi Arabia and including Iran, they had this some kind of a deal that, okay, we will let this happen, and Bashar al-Assad will be made to leave the country, and then this new government that comes, because, Ahmad al-Shara is just a puppet, and he is just there for a temporary time, just before any real democratic elections in Syria, and he's just going to pave that path, and he's going to just be there so that things can be put into order, a political system that favors the Saudis, the Turks, that favors the region. That type of a political system is ready to be put into work. Until then, Ashara is going to be there.
That's a great point. So the last article that we want to discuss today is from the First Post, and it's called, "Is China trying to reopen World War II era air bases in Bangladesh near India's border?" So there's also this news going on that now Pakistan is getting a contract. Sorry for the audio. We'll hold on for a second. And yeah, the audio is fixed. So China, now Pakistan is getting this contract in Bangladesh to reopen this World War II era airbase. And let me just quickly show you the map as well. So the location of this airbase is like really important, and it's located near the mountains. And what is happening is that Pakistan and Bangladesh had been so enemies since the divide of Pakistan and Bangladesh, because Bangladesh used to be Pakistan, but due to some unfortunate circumstances, so there were some faults by the Pakistanis as well from this side. So we got divided, and since then, and Hasina Wajid and her father, the hate for Pakistanis was so intense that they didn't let any Pakistani supporter to live there, although they used to be the same country. And since the ouster of Hasina Wajid, and now Khan Yunus is there. Muhammad Yunus. Khan Yunus is also
is the city of Gaza.
The city of Gaza, yes. No, it's the hospital of Gaza.
No, it's also a
hospital of
and a city.
And a city. So since this guy has come in, now they're working like hand in hand with Pakistan, and even when India was trying to attack Pakistan, Bangladesh came in and said that if India attacks Pakistan, they would attack India from the other side, and it would be like a 2.5 front war, because China would also be involved in all the situation. And they were talking about the Seven Sisters and everything. And then we just hear this news that China is trying to reopen an old airbase, and Pakistani army or the Pakistani people are getting the contract to build this airbase. And how amazing and out of the world the tale of events and situation has been. So could you give us some detail, and we have the map open as well if you want to tell us something.
Yes, if you're looking at the map, you can see that this air base is just at the upper, northern side of Bangladesh, and it is facing that very thin Chicken Neck, you also call it, and Siliguri Creek, you also call it. It's a few miles wide, I think 17 miles or 15 miles wide path that connects the mainland India with these Seven Sisters that are all located at the backside of Bangladesh. And there's always this danger in the mind of Indians that what happens if China comes forward and takes over this Siliguri Creek, or Bangladesh comes out and takes over this Siliguri Creek, and their connection with the Seven Sisters is going to cut off. And I would like to remind the viewers that in each of those Seven Sisters, in Nagaland and in Manipur, and each one of them has a separatist movement inside them. These people don't want to be part of India. They want to be independent countries. And the separate, a lot has been happening in these states in current, few months also, a lot of agitation. And the topmost of those Seven Sisters is the Arunachal Pradesh province, which China says that it is a part of Tibet. That means it is part of China. So China is already ready to take that province away, take it for itself, and the rest of the 6 states are going to be made into another independent country, or maybe they're going to be made into 6 different states, whatever. That is the danger that India is facing. So it's very easy, it was very easy for Modi to just come out with all his flair and fury and attack Pakistan, but Modi did not foresee this, maybe, or his defense ministry or his generals, they did not foresee that the moment they do something bad with China, with Pakistan, all over the places, in Bangladesh and in Arunachal Pradesh and in Ladakh, maybe fronts are going to be open. And another very interesting thing that has happened is that China Morning News has said that China is intensifying work on Mohammed Dam, which is a dam that is being built on Swat River, because India threatened Pakistan for their waters. That's why they have already stepped up the work that they are doing with Pakistan on the Mohammed Dam, because that river that is the Swat River, which comes from Kabul side, So China is really all fingers in with Pakistan, and it is doing just tit for tat on every step. And the great friendship between Pakistan and China has taken a new face after this war, because Pakistan-India war 2025 has been a big advertisement for the J-10s, I think,
yes.
J-10s, and the missile was PL-15, and all the surveillance and jamming equipments that China had given to Pakistan, that has been advertised in such a big manner that China is getting contracts from different countries now, and people want to buy Chinese weapon, and they want to leave the Rafales and all these F-35s maybe, and people want to buy those. So this is what's happened. I mean, that is what India has done to itself. And then another thing, very interesting thing, yesterday when I opened Twitter, there was a trend going on by Indian media that the Indian Army had deployed these missiles or defense capabilities, S-400s, I think, around the Golden Temple to safeguard it against missiles coming from Pakistan. So that was so funny. And you want to say something about it?
Did it get destroyed, the Golden Temple?
No. Pakistan is so friends with the Sikh community. They would never do that. They are friends. Even, we saw some videos that Sikh army people are burning their uniforms because they said that we are not going to fight against Pakistan. And why would Pakistan go? Because we are really diplomatically very close to Sikh community right now. And why would we go and hit their temple? And today, Indian Army has clarified this thing, that no, there was no such installation around the temple. And
the missile that fell into Amritsar, that India first blamed on Pakistan, but then they got to know that it was a misfire from the Indians themselves. And it was due to the fact how will India invade Pakistan when the whole of Punjab, that is the border of Pakistan and India, and this is also a big conspiracy. Why didn't they split any other province other than Punjab? Like they split Punjab into two different places, and there's Sikhs on one side and Muslims on the other. And how will the Indian army just go over the Sikh population and come and invade Pakistan? And how will Pakistan even defend itself? Will it not strike back the areas in Punjab? And when it's striking Punjab, who is it striking? Is it the Sikh community? So the Sikhs were like a buffer between the Indians and the Muslims.
Exactly.
So if the war breaks out, the Sikhs would get totally decimated. They would be
You
the
know,
worst affected by the war.
Indian, they are so bad and at winning hearts and minds because they have been killing, assassinating Sikh leaders in Canada, and then plotting against them in the US and the UK, and even they have killed Sikh leaders inside Pakistan. So the Sikhs, they are really, really angry at India. They have no sympathy for them, especially this Modi regime, which is an assassin regime. Raw has become a assassination
Regime.
machine. It's going all over the place. They're doing exactly like Israel does in. It goes into Syria, it goes into Iraq, it goes into right inside Tehran to perform their assassination, things. And India is doing the same. Exactly.
Exactly the same. So with that, I would like to end our live stream. And we didn't have that much comments today, but we obviously like that you guys give us a comment and we'll read it out live and we'll answer to your comments. And we hope that everyone watching this live stream had a wonderful experience, and I hope all of this information and knowledge was helpful for you guys. And we always have a wonderful time on this stream discussing about world topics, and we love Anila to be here on this live stream, and we like her to come again soon in the future, maybe in the next week or something, to discuss some other topics as well. And it's so great having you guys watching us. Anila, would you like to give some of your ending remarks for the viewers?
Yes, it's always so good to be here, and comments are really always welcome. It gives us the courage to do the thing again and again. If you're not here on the live session, you can always give your comments afterwards when you see the program. And of course, times are really tense all over the world, especially because of this India-Pakistan tension, which could have ended up into a nuclear, thing, God forbid. And again, then there is more weapons and missiles coming into Philippines against China. Like the US is not stopping at any thing. They are just going on, and that makes the whole global environment more and more tense. And we are always praying and hoping that these things don't happen and peace is brought to our places, our countries, our regions. Thank you.
With that, we'll end the live stream. Thank you so much for you guys to be here listening and watching our live stream.